Hey, just Paulie here. So, I was talking to you earlier about my friend David Hanlon, that very splendid gentleman. I think I forgot to say was David had spent a lot of time living in Melonesia. He often wore a T-shirt that he was rather proud of. He'd worked helping out a road crew. I think this was briefly in New Guinea, and the T-shirt was written in pidgin, which is the actual kind of trade language. This is kind of like a abbreviated English, and in kind of what would you call it, sort of syllabic English across this thing. It says, "You be slow fella, work blokey, make 'em road," and I know he was really proud of that. But he went back to Melanesia because he'd spent some time there as a kid and he wanted to go back. Now, David turned up on this island and he said it was like something from a 1930s film. It says the only way in was by a seaplane, which lands at these docks and he gets off with his bag, and it's an old bamboo dock, just hooks straight onto the sandy beach with all these trees kind of growing there and a scatter of huts and houses, and there's this one white painted, very kind of English colonial looking hotel. All right, so he needs some directions and he needs to find out where to stay. So he goes in there, and this place is post office. It's where you book the flights. It's everything. But it says you walk into this big room, and it says there's the kind of wicker bladed fan turning slowly in the ceiling. A long bar. There's two guys in like white linen suits with sweat patches under the arms and kind of white hats, and they're just kind of like sitting at the bar, half bowed over half drunk drinks. Bartender behind the bar just staring off into space, polishing glasses. A radio set kind of mumbling some kind of soccer game or something in the corner, and just the slow thrum 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 of the fan. Says, okay, so he found out somewhere to stay, and he said, and this is where hell began, because he said nothing really changed and nothing really moved here. He said, oh, this is going to be a great place to relax for a while. So he just finds this kind of place he can stay. It's just kind of a housey hut thing that no one's really using, so I'll just stay there. So he just moved in, and there's like a vegetable garden, and there's some chickens and so on. And he said, you sort of forage for chickens and everything. So he says, how the day would go is, you'd kind of sleep out on your porch, really, because it was all kind of warm and sort of sunny. And you would you'd get up somewhere around about midday. And the first thing you'd do is you would basically pull some kava, and you basically mash this stuff up, put it in water, and you hang it in this kava bag. This stuff will ferment, and it's basically a narcotic alcoholic drink, which just ferments. It's just made from literally roots growing in the garden. So you kind of like, oh yeah, you foraged around, you got a couple of eggs from the chickens that were just wandering about. Yeah, have some breakfast. So you're a bit tired then, so you kind of take a little bit of a nap. But then some friends kind of come wandering past, or some neighbours, and they say, hey, we're having dinner around at our place. So the whole neighbourhood would just collect to one person's place, and you just bring whatever you foraged from your garden. So there'll be some more eggs, there'll be a few vegetables you pull from the garden. Someone will bring along a few fish they've caught, and everyone just sits around and eats this, and they just drink the kava that you made all night. And then you're kind of like completely spaced out from the stuff, so you kind of creep home and you sleep, and you wake up midday. And he said, suddenly you go, you look around and it says 6 months have gone by. He said, you can't recall a single actual day of it. You haven't really done. He was supposed to be there writing. He was going to write a book and everything. He hasn't done a thing because he's just been kind of doing this. Well, it's terrible. But that's okay. Look, obviously I was stressed and everything, but that's okay. I'm going to sit down. I'm going to start, budgeting some of my days so that I get my writing done. And you wake up again, and it's like, another 6 months have gone by since you made that determination you're going to start writing. Nothing's happened. Nothing's changed. You've just been drinking kava and sitting on the... So, okay, look, this this kind of isn't working out, but you know what? I'm gonna. I think it's time I moved on. So you sort of get your bag and you pack stuff, and some people drift by and they said, "Oh, when are you going?" So, well, the flight's tomorrow. Well, come and have dinner at our place then. Okay. Well, you go to dinner and you have some kava. And you wake up in the hammock. Another 6 months have gone by. He said this time he had to put his head down and go, 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 go. Don't talk to anyone. No distractions. It's like you end up back in that white colonial hotel. So the same two guys are sitting in the same seats, just sitting there. The fan is still going at the same speed. It might be the same soccer game on the radio. So so just sit here, don't move, don't get distracted by anything, just make sure that your brain stays sharp until that plane turns up and you can get on it. Otherwise, you're not leaving. That's it. This is the last awakening you have. Otherwise, you're just going to be there. So yeah, he got the smeg out of Dodge. So an interesting chap, our David. I do miss him. I do hope he's okay. David, if you're out there, get in touch, for God's sake, man. Between interrogating kittens and Sound of Music and Burmese headhunters, he was quite a guy. Anyway, cheers.